Hey guys, it is your girl Kash, your sexologist bestie. We are back for yet another powerful conversation during this Masturbation May. We're talking about getting off, baby. What more do you need this month? But of course, in order to have these conversations, we got to get the people who you really need to hear from. And honestly, I didn't want to have typical conversations about getting off. We can all talk about a little flipping the bean. But there is more than one way to get off over here. And today we're going to talk about how nasty work gets you off, okay? In order to do that, I had to bring in our girl, Ericka Hart.
Hi.
Hey, darling. How you doing?
Thank you for having me.
For sure, for sure. You know, I always believe in alignment. Let me say this,
Yes.
right? Because what people, y'all don't know. I
Yes.
remember reaching out
Yes.
a year ago.
Yes.
We were going on a cruise and I was like I was like, I need to find somebody we can take with us, but scheduling didn't align. So I said, okay, we're going to figure it out. And then I want to say a couple months later, I get an email from your team saying, hey, we want to see about getting her on your show. And I was like, see, timing needed to do what it wanted to do. And then I thought, wow, what are the odds that it happens right after you drop a book?
Yes.
So now
I didn't know that was for a cruise.
it was for a cruise, but the cruise is with our company. So Bedroom Candy is an intimacy company. Every year we have an annual convention. Mm-hmm. So we go and do different things. And that year we were looking for a way, we were going to the Bahamas and all that stuff.
That's
too.
why I'm like, let's run that back.
Right. It was a cruise. Yeah. So with Bedroom Candy, we do our annual convention. Mm-hmm. And that's usually when we get all of our educators together. And that's our time to kind of not just connect with each other, but also learn, grow, train, have those talks by the bar about, but it's all entrepreneurs and business, mm-hmm. right? And so we always want to introduce more sex positive educators, but also wellness, pleasure focused, liberation as well, because the people who join our brand and our company who are going out and doing parties, they are walking into some of people's most intimate spaces, right? And talking to them about some of their most intimate parts of their life. Mm-hmm. And we want them to feel like they're informed educators, on it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, who can we look at?
I appreciate that.
You were one of the people. And what was a big affirmation is that when I got to your page, I saw that 120 of our mutuals, right? Out of all of them, majority of them were people in the community already. So I was like, oh, they already tune into her.
Oh, amazing.
So I know they're gonna love that you on here.
And I'm excited to be here.
Yes,
I'm excited to be here.
So I'm gonna just get straight into it because I kind of took some time to kind of get a little familiarized with the book. I haven't, read it entirely, but I have taken time to kind of understand what it's about. And it does come across as a strong intersection between the politics of sex and liberation, but also, what I really loved about the concept is access to pleasure has not been the same conversation for all communities, especially BIPOC communities.
100%.
So can you tell me nasty work? First of all, the title, I love it. And it made me think that's a fun way to say sex work. Like,
sex work is a good thing. Nasty work is not.
It's not necessarily,
necessarily a good thing,
Right, but I was like, interesting. So I really wanted to get a sense on when you titled the book, mm-hmm. what brought you to that?
Sure. So I actually wrote the entire book and still did not have a title. I didn't feel like I had a title before I started to write. And even when I came to the end, I was
still trying to figure it out.
And every title that I came up with that I workshop, my editor was like, Ericka, please, no.
We got to have a side conversation so I can hear the blooper titles.
So I actually give credit to my partner for talking to me and workshopping with me and coming to realize that this was the title, that this made the most sense, because nasty work is an exploration of, like you said, systems of oppression and how they directly impact our access to pleasure. And oftentimes we think about pleasure, we think about the act of sex,
right?
But
it's more than that.
But pleasure is so much more than that, right? It's pleasurable to have a glass of water, mm-hmm. right? It's pleasurable to have electricity. It's pleasurable to have a walkable neighborhood. It's pleasurable to be able to have a bed to sleep in, right? And these are things that are oftentimes kept from us systemically in this country and across the globe. So I felt that sex education is oftentimes this reprieve from talking about systems. People think that it's just apolitical. It's a place to hide out, not to talk about systems because we're talking about sex and we're free to talk about it and we can yell penis and vulva and blah, blah, blah. But it just was void of actually talking about the things that directly impact us on a regular basis. Yes.
Yeah, especially for certain communities. Marginalized communities don't have the same access. And, I love the way you're coming at it, because even for me, I also talk about the pleasure principle, right?
Yes.
Also, we love things that give us pleasure, also things that avoid pain. And we are a community who have been literally in pain for so long, still in pain. It's not even like a past tense conversation. Exactly. And so they don't even realize how just the liberation from that pain alone is pleasure. And I find that so many people that I come across are looking for someone to say it's okay to do it, or say it's okay to access it. I want to ask you, because obviously societal norms and cultural norms will impact this conversation. And then you get the world of religion, and that's a whole nother basket, right? Yes. But when you were writing this book, right, I got to imagine that as a writer myself, I know that it surfaces a lot within you just to be able to put this work out. And so what types of things came up for you in the process of getting through writing this?
It's such a good question. So much, right? I feel like writing can be excruciating, because it really demands of you to talk about the thing that maybe you've buried and that you don't want to talk about, especially as it relates to sex and sexuality. Right. I think there's a reason why we do this work. And I think sometimes that realization comes out of trauma, and even the trauma of not being able to talk about sex. So with that, even my own experiences, and as a sex educator, typically we're trained not to talk about ourselves. So that was challenging in and of itself, right? My editor was like, I want to hear from you, right? How did you come to these things? And as an academic, you don't write in academia, you don't write about yourself.
Yes, they want it to be more generalized, even though in this, what I find in this work is that what makes them connect with me is me giving of myself in order for them to even trust me with certain conversations. So it's a in between, because you don't want to project, right? But also you want to be real and say, like, I'm not just talking about it. I relate.
Exactly.
And so, I love that.
Yeah, but it was challenging. For example, in the That's So Gay chapter, I talk about myself as a baby queer, and a lot of
I love that term. I'm sorry.
That's what I was.
A baby queer.
I still try to think of myself as a baby queer, but the age is not giving that anymore. Yes. And just the slut the years in the game, it's just not anymore. But I really thought of queerness as just this sexual exploration, right? It wasn't something that was worthy of a relationship, right? Queerness meant we're having sex. So when I had my first girlfriend and we weren't having sex because she was navigating depression, I was like, well, are we really queer? Are we really, is this real? Like, why aren't we, right? And I had to really sit with that and go there, and also just kind of tell the truth about where I've come from. Right. I haven't always had all of these realizations or understood compulsory sexuality and this idea that relationships and people are just supposed to have sex. And that is a fast track way to sexual assault. I didn't know that. Right.
Yeah. And in a negative form of hypersexuality.
100%.
And I would tell people, it's not even that the hypersexuality has to be a negative thing. It's how you exercise it.
If it's consensual, it's a great thing.
But it can be damaging if you don't even understand 100%. What that means.
When it's placed on you.
Right.
Even when it's placed on you as a child, which oftentimes it is for Black folks. So that kind of talking about those things were painful, because I'm going back to a time where I was just trying to figure it out.
Right. Right. And but I think that becomes the most relatable point.
Yes.
Because most of us, even at our big age, I'm in my second puberty, my adult puberty. And culturally, my ancestry is rooted in Nigeria, Igbo tribe, and we call what I call my perimental disorder. I call it my perimental bitch sometimes. But my perimental disorder, menopause, y'all, perimenopause, is it kind of feels like a second coming of womanhood, right?
Wild.
And so, like you said, you have these realizations, and now here I am having like a whole second dose of them.
Yeah.
And I realized that I don't think anything is coincidental in that a lot of the women and the men even that I'm coming across are at this intersection of trying to understand our bodily changes, our hormonal changes, but also how our past trauma have impacted the way that they show up for us at this point. So what I love most about what you're saying is people don't realize that even their beliefs around the topic of sex, pleasure, like you said, queerness, which originally had a bad stigma because it was used as a derogatory word. I'm happy we reclaimed that one. Let me just say that for the record. But it's like even that understanding of it, but also what I find is just like falling into this beautiful ignorance, right? What I've loved about even my own journey in a queer way, right, is that I could ignorantly go about it and learn, more about myself through the process. So I want to ask you, for someone who might be in a phase of trying to figure out what that identity looks like for them, what are some things that they can either start to learn or put into effect or implement to help them along that discovery journey in a way that they can do it without shame? And feel free to take your time because I know that's a loaded ass question.
That is a big, it's a big question. I think, well, one thing in talking about perimenopause is that that's an aspect of growing up, getting older that isn't really talked about, right? Perimenopause is something that is newly being discussed. And even when you go to the doctor, they don't even really have any answers, right? They're trying to figure it out. They're like, well, and hormone changes, they fluctuate throughout the day, right? So there's no way to really track or see if someone is
doing that.
Right. But I think the biggest part of that is listening to what people are saying. And I say that because as queer people, as trans people, as non-binary people, even as cis people, it's important to honor how we feel about ourselves and what it is that we're experiencing. Because the world is going to constantly tell us otherwise. It's going to gaslight us and convince us that it's not the case. It's
we're losing our mind.
Exactly.
That our pain isn't there.
Exactly. And you don't need all of this evidence that's what's happening to you is what's happening to you. Right. And I think that's the biggest thing where I was constantly looking outside of me for, am I really who I say I am? And am I really this thing? Right. And I think it's important that if you are that thing, then you are that thing. If you said it, then you are. A lot of my young people, like elementary school students, when I work with them and I teach about gender, I'm always talking about how expansive gender is because we are constantly put into these very narrow ideas of a binary, right? Women do this, girls do this, boys do this, and men do this. And it's so confining. And when we open that up and really dissect that and get bigger, my students are like, I think I am the sky, right? That's my gender. I'm like, that's beautiful.
Yes, baby,
right?
fly.
Exactly. Like that is a beautiful way to honor who you are. And it doesn't have to make sense to me or to anybody else, right? It just has to make sense to you. And I think that's the biggof piece of advice that I could give outside of a whole bunch of other theory things.
Because what I found in one of the things that breaks my heart the most is when women say things like, I wish I had the confidence, or I wish I had this. So I hear those things a lot, and it made me think once, right? And what I love about this body of work that you did is that there's like labor and liberation. I think people think it just comes, right?
No.
And I would say even the work that it takes to educate yourself, because look, forever I ran around saying I was bisexual. I got older and I was like, oh, you demisexual. You need a connection. It's not negotiable, right? But I didn't understand why I could see a woman, be attracted to that woman, but not want to do nothing with her, right? And so, again, my own lack of knowledge at that point in life was I was told gay, straight, bi, right? Maybe trans. And even back then, they weren't even using that word. We're not going to use this disgusting word.
It is a newer term, honestly.
Right, because people were not, I remember when Sierra came out and people were throwing those rumors around her, and they were using the terms that we don't use now. But that was my understanding, because as a Black person, those were the words I got introduced to. So I really appreciate you saying what you just said, because I think a lot of people need to understand that, like, you need to be okay with whatever it is that you define as, and it has to make sense for you in order for you to embody it. So on the space of that, right? I think that what I'm hearing is that there was a point where you realize I'm not supposed to live a watered down life. Like an acceptable. I like to say the word acceptable, socially acceptable life, because I find that when I look at your content, I feel rebellion.
Oh,
right.
Thank you.
I think about emotions that come up when I listen to people talk, and what I hear is rebellion, but not in the aggressive, violent way, but in my voice is rebellion. So can you tell me what other types of themes people will find in the book as they're coming through it that, might help them, first of all, figure out like, I need to pick up this book and read it. It might be the one I need to, but what are the themes that come up? Because that chapter title, or would you say, how do you say gay? What was the chapter title you said?
That's so gay.
That's so gay. Yeah. That has me like, well, what the hell is the chapters about, right?
No, I love this question. I would say that the rebellion piece that you hear might be innate.
Okay.
I'm a Sagittarius. So but embodied, right? We are constantly truth tellers, and I'm a December Sagittarius. That's important to note.
That's the harsh truth teller meaning.
That's important to note.
Listen, that older child I was telling you about, he is, and I was like, they're going to tell you exactly what it is, how it is. And yes, okay.
Straight up. So I think
makes sense.
It required some refining over time, but I've always been that person that just wanted the truth to be told. So I think that's what you hear perhaps in the work that I do, and what you'll see in Nasty Work. And the themes are exploring what we didn't get in school, right? We didn't get sex education in school. No. Most of us, and even if we did get sex ed,
it was about procreation.
It was probably taught by a gym teacher. They likely went through
what was that about? Was it always the health teacher?
It was always the health teacher or the gym teacher, and the health and the gym teacher were both doing it reluctantly.
Exactly.
And they were talking about anatomy, reproductive anatomy, and telling you over and over again, do not have sex. You'll die if you have sex.
Yes, and that's because legally so much of the federal laws require abstinent-based education in school, so they don't get nothing that doesn't encourage you not doing it.
Yes, I think it's only 23 states in the country that can teach, that are approved to teach comprehensive.
Exactly.
And even a place like Texas, it doesn't even have to be science-based. So you can just teach anything.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Interesting.
It's terrifying. So I really wanted to expand that beyond, talking about anatomy, but also talking about anatomy and the anti-Black origins of how we talk about anatomy, right? Like even fatness being linked with Blackness, right? And that also played a role in how we talk about genitalia, right? And a lot of people say things like, oh, I want my partner to be tight if they have a vagina, right? A lot of that is rooted in very pedophilic, anti-Black, like slavery coded language, right? And it's like, how can we be more mindful of the things that we're mimicking?
Ericka, how you gonna just drop that first word?
That's a
and
thing.
Keep going, because when she said it slapped. Like, oh, that's why you like a small hole. Oh,
yeah,
we gonna leave.
That's disgusting.
It is true.
It's disgusting. I mean, but also we have to look at how this country was founded, right? We can't look away from that, right? We talk about genocide and the dispossession of Indigenous Americans, chattel slavery of Indigenous Africans. But what were the ages of the people who were being sexually assaulted? Yeah. Right? And
they were likely little girls.
Exactly.
Boys.
Exactly. They were.
They were.
And even how RFK Jr., Dr. Oz, Trump, all these people are talking about teen pregnancy today. Like
it's
just
alarming.
3 days ago.
In 2026.
Talking about teen pregnancy rates lowering as if it's a problem. As if it's a problem. Right? So this is the uncovering of, this is the nasty work.
Yeah.
Right? So really uncovering that and talking about that and going through it as if we were in a sex ed class together. I would describe nasty work as class with me. Right. So we talk about genitalia, but from, a way to expose the ways of oppression and how they've played a role in even describing genitalia.
Yeah. Because, culturally, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay.
As you said that, what it makes me think about is also, I think it's also a cultural norm to nickname genitalia. Right.
Yeah.
So like, and I just had this conversation with a friend of mine, and I have to insert a trigger warning to this statement. Right. Because, I had a client who had a big realization on a conversation in a call with me. She booked a call with me, and I thought it was for her, but it was actually some questions she had around her child. She also has a nonverbal autistic daughter. So I think that's, where we connected, because my son is also partially nonverbal.
Yeah.
So in this discussion, as she's telling me, she suspected that her young daughter had been sexually assaulted by, and her behavior was different. She said, I feel like she acts a certain way about a certain relative, but because my daughter isn't verbal
you're not
fully,
sure.
I'm not sure. Long story short, she repeatedly used the word cookie in our conversation. So I always, like as the word that she described the vagina to her daughter with, like how to clean. She said, I've taught my daughter how to clean her cookie, how this and that. So I just said, out of curiosity, is the word cookie the word you've taught your daughter for her vagina? And so I said, yeah. I said, because earlier in our conversation, you mentioned when I asked you, well, what are some of the things that she typically likes to do, or what are you seeing different? She mentioned like something around sharing cookies with Uncle so-and-so. And that connection, her mom hadn't made it, but I heard it. And then I heard cookie 30 times in the conversation. And I was like, who she said she's sharing cookies with?
Yeah.
Long story short, this mom had a complete total in that moment.
Breakdown.
It was like a glass break moment when it hit her that my daughter has been saying this thing, and it alarmed me in a way that I always encourage people, tell them the name for the body part, because if her daughter had said, I've been sharing vagina with Uncle so and so, we wouldn't know. But we culturally shame the actual name of genitalia.
100%.
And I'm happy you said that, because I do think for us as a people, it's okay if we have, vajayjay and all those other words, but also know the real word.
It come 100%.
Right.
And I'm thank you for sharing that story. I think it'll make a difference for so many people. One aspect of sexual assault awareness, especially with young people, is knowing the names of their body parts, right? We do head, shoulders, knees, and toes. We also need to do breast, penis, scrotum, vulva, vagina, right? But also understanding that a lot of sexual assault with children does not begin with touching genitalia.
It doesn't.
Right? It's sitting on a lap. It's touching an arm. It's maybe brushing hair, right? There's grooming things that happen ahead of that. So it's important to not just tell children, right? Don't have somebody touch your genitalia, which is what I was told, right? It's also, you need to know good touch versus bad touch, right? Is this touch that you feel comfortable with? Is this what you've consented to? Right? We teach children not to have autonomy at all
over themselves
in their bodies,
You're
right?
To do what we tell you
auntie
to do.
Or uncle wants a hug, we walk in and we say, go give auntie and uncle a hug, go give grandma a hug, right? And we literally, if they don't, what do they say? Oh, they got an attitude.
Disrespectful, they got an attitude. Listen, and then
what does that do for an adult, right? You grow up believing that if you don't shake that person's hand, if you don't hug them, if you don't interact with them.
We're basically conditioning fawning.
100%. 100%. Without a shadow of a doubt.
And you know what's so crazy? I feel, I feel very blessed to have an autistic child. Let me just say that, because he was the person who basically made me throw all of that out.
Yeah.
Because he ain't hugging you if you don't want to.
Right.
In fact, you come up to him, he's going to be like, no. Right?
Yes.
So, but at first, it's just like you said, to someone is like his denial. I don't think that was something that most people received well, when it, but
they take it personally.
Right. And as his advocate, I had to be like, if he don't want to hug you, he ain't got to high five is fine, or dap is fine.
That's it.
And a wave is also okay. And he ain't got to say shit if he don't want to either.
Doesn't have to.
But I like that. I think that this conversation is important, because people might not understand why on a platform where we talk about sex and mostly about adults in this realm, that the ways that we are interacting with pleasure in our adult life are heavily shaped by these things, and we have to break cycles one way or another. So
100%.
Thank you for echoing that statement, because it is not a past problem. It is a current.
It's current. And I talk about that in the book. It's a whole chapter on consent.
I love it.
And how consent is in everything, right? It's not just, we try to, even as sex educators, I think that's a way that we fail oftentimes, is that we will talk about sexual consent, but we won't actually inform people on consent is everything, right? Solange said, don't touch my hair. That was a consent issue.
Yes.
Right? Like, why are people just actively touching Black people's hair? Well, they don't think that Black people are human and that they can consent.
Yeah.
And that also reflects in the increased rates of sexual assault of Black folks too. So especially Black femmes. So that's what I'm like, we have to be making these connections. You get what I'm saying?
And the thing about that is I even had to learn that, because I remember having like that moment of like conflict in myself when women, we sometimes can be handsy with each other, right? And it's more normalized for us to be like, oh, girl, whatever. And, you know, becoming an influencer and putting me in certain spaces,
people
made me, you know, now I'm walking into spaces where people are like, I just want to squeeze it. And it's this and that. And sometimes it's like, do you even think that statement is appropriate?
Yeah, it's
right?
not.
I don't even consent to you saying that to me, right? Because what made you feel comfortable, right? But it does wake you up to the fact that it's not just a man on woman problem or a woman. No, it can happen within and similar people who identify under the same genders. Yeah, because there is this assumption that because I can just do it. Oh, girl, look at the titties, or oh, girl, and I'm like. But when I was younger, I didn't think it was anything wrong with me and my homegirls being that way with each other. So it is a evolution of learning. Now, our second segment on the podcast is called Adult Edutainment, right? I like to try to educate, but we want to entertain because we realize that most people don't like learning things if they don't feel like it's interesting. Yeah. The good thing about the topics of pleasure is that there's very little things that aren't interesting. But I did also, I was thinking ahead of time about some things, and what I like to do to open a segment is gift, right? Okay. So I have some stuff for you, right? 2 things actually. And
I
one
love
bag
gifts.
is here.
Gifts are my love language.
See, this one could only fit here. So the first gift
Can I open it?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. The first one is to aid and such.
Oh.
Right? We gave her.
Can I open this?
So yes. It is the Womanizer Duo. Yes. So the Womanizer Duo, and I'll hold that for you.
Let me turn it around.
So the Womanizer Duo is a 2-in-1. This is going to do a little clitoral pleasure air.
Wow.
While G-spot stimulation can happen there.
Yeah, the curve.
There's also a little clitoris keychain in there.
Oh my
Your
God,
love.
Stop.
Yes. I keep it on my Stanley. It's definitely a conversation starter.
And it's an internal clitoris.
Yes. It has internal, external. It's
Why
waterproof.
am I more excited about the keychain?
Now, yes. So crazy thing is I opened it and when I first got it, I didn't know there was one in there. And I saw it, like, oh my God, look at the little clit. And it was like, are you more excited about the clit keychain or the thing that works on your clit? And I was like, we'll get to that. But there's a couple of things I'll let you know. It does have a built-in sensor, meaning anytime the toy is not angled for use and you stop it stops the vibration, stops everything. That's really like, in case y'all got them nosy ass kids, you need to stop it real quick. As soon as you pull it forward, it will stop doing no sounds, nothing.
I love that.
So just giving you that.
Rediscover the rabbit.
Yes. This gives you all of the
thank you.
The aspects of it. Just so you guys know, the pleasure air technology that Womanizer developed, like everybody talks about roses. Personally, I'm not a fan of them. I think they're a little harsh. But the
Womanizer itself.
The Womanizer is gentler. It has changeable head tops so to fit different clitoral sizes. So
amazing.
Some of them are smaller, some of them are larger. And the other thing is that the man who developed the Womanizer did it for his wife. So I have to say this, right? Yes, it's a very interesting story. His wife did not respond well to vibration at all. And out of desire to find a way to please his woman, he curated pleasure air technology, which is basically a way to not have baby. I said he went and engineered. He went and engineered.
Oh, you're not getting pleasure?
You're not getting pleasure?
Wait a second.
Let me call a warehouse, right? So I was like, so this story had me so fascinated because basically it doesn't directly contact your clit. Nothing directly touches your clit. It kind of hovers around it. Okay. But it uses the air technology to mimic the sensation of like a licking suction, like a licking and suction. Amazing. So it's not pulling, it's actually pushing air at your clit in a rate. So I say that because a lot of the toys do a pull technology and we ain't messing with them nerve endings, baby. They sensitive down there. Yeah. So just giving you that so you know that about it and the way it is. But I hope that's something. But I also, first of all, I know your partner. I know you're a spouse. Yes. But I had a couple other things that I just still wanted to give you. One is for hubby. Okay. Right. One is specifically, and I threw some lube samples in there. But there's a lipstick that I put in there for you.
Wait, is this the lipstick?
So no. I'm gonna tell you the you talking about the lipstick vibrator?
Yeah, I used to. So fun fact, I used to work at a sex toy shop.
Really?
And I think that's when how long has Bedroom Candy been
now?
out?
12, 13 years.
I worked there about like 10, and 12 years ago.
First toys.
Yes. And I was like, this is so amazing.
It's super cute.
I was a massive Housewives fan, and I would always. I'm like, hey, would you like a lipstick?
A lipstick? Yes. It's one of those toys, but this is an actual lipstick. Right?
This is an actual lipstick.
Now, if you notice, the coloring is obviously The color code
Yes.
is to match the vibe. We got the black fist on it. This is our Juneteenth special edition lipstick.
Oh, I love y'all.
So-
see the packaging.
Yes, baby. We intentional about the power,
I
honey.
love
okay.
that.
We intentional. It's a black-owned brand. And then the actual lipstick tube is also very festive.
Cute.
It's a chocolate brown, sweet brownie.
This
okay?
is cunt.
But we love the coloring. We
Happy
put the
Juneteenth.
yes. So we like those little statement piece that when you pull it out your bag, it says something.
I love this.
And I thought about that because of like you said, you deal a lot in conversations that impact our communities.
Yeah.
I was like, Juneteenth is coming up.
This is such
Gotta
a great
give her a little
gift.
something.
Thank
something.
you.
And a safe color because I think brown is one of those colors that it looks good on all
everybody.
of us. Yes. But I do want to show this to the public because as a company, we think about inclusivity, and inclusivity is not a thing we do, it's a thing we are over here, right? So this is another collection of our lipsticks. This one is our Pride collection.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
Look at that.
Yes, it's super gorgeous.
Candy
and
has always been for the girls.
baby, we don't play about it when it comes down to it. And it was really just like a couple of reasons. I have plenty of trans friends who are not outward, right, with it, and also in certain places it's simply not safe to be. And sometimes it's like you still want to have that little thing. So we this flag has the trans flag. This one has a trans flag on it. It's called Be You to Full.
I love
and
that.
this one has that like purplish color, right? Now, Proud of You is evidently proud, right? This one is called Girl Bye, as in B-I. It's like a more of a deeper purple blue. Like basically it's the colors of the rainbow. The whole situation.
So nice. What a great gift too.
That's what I was thinking. So Pride is coming up. We in May, but Pride is coming. And that's what's like, I think this is a good, this is obviously the non-binary flag.
Yes.
And it's a green.
Shout out
it's
to
called
us.
It's called green with NB, but NBI, like spelled by.
I love that.
For the non-binary community. And basically be yourself. We also have the obviously new curated with the BIPOC inclusion and trans inclusion flag on this one. And that one is called there's Alliance, and then the other one is Can't Think Straight, and that's the red. Right. So all of the lipsticks are named behind it. But the reason why I'm talking about this is because just as a company, as a brand, it's important that people see themselves in what you do. And when we go to parties and we're doing events and we're going on, all this stuff, it's like we want to find subtle ways to put something out that doesn't have to scream, hey, we're for the gays. But if they see it, they know, oh, okay. Including like our body butter. This is also a non-binary flag.
Oh, them. I love
It's called
that.
Them.
That's so cute.
And it's a unisex fragrance. So any person could wear it. And the reason why I'm talking about that right now is because with the conversation around liberation, we're talking about pleasure, we're talking about access to it and denial of it and all of those things. I could not think about the queer community in this discussion.
Yes.
And I know that one of the things, I started as a consultant years ago. Now we're in a whole nother world, right? Yeah. But I remember what it felt like being in my identity journey and then being with the company who I was seeing bring these types of things or, just being a part of this curating, because I'm also part of a lot of product development. For you, the conversation around pleasure, access, liberation, and queerness is a real interesting intersection because it's like, then you add being Black and queer. And I personally have found that even within the LGBTQ plus community, there is a lot of misunderstanding amongst each other. Right? So for you as a person, Black, queer, right? And all of these ways where multiple identities are overlapping, how do you feel that intersection has shifted your relationship with pleasure discussions and just, you know what I mean, around it? Because it's, listen, baby, you got more than one thing people might want to try to criticize going on. And it's like, how do I exist in my pleasure comfortably? And I feel like you're someone who I feel does it well, but most people, they hide. They, I want to get rid of some of that shame. What do you think can help, even if it's not the full answer?
I would never say that getting rid of the shame is on the responsibility of the person that's queer or trans, right? I think that is the responsibility of cishet people in our cishet world, right? The fact that it's not safe for us to exist would never be, it's kind of like telling I remember the early days of me teaching sex ed in a lot of New York public schools. A lot of the curricula would be, well, Black kids, especially Black girls, deal with self-esteem. So let's talk to them about self-esteem and how they can build up their self-esteem and be proud of who they are. But the world around them is constantly telling them that they're wrong and that they're ugly and that they're hypersexual and that they shouldn't be proud. So why do they have to do the labor? Why is the onus on the individual and not on these systems, right? And not on the ways that we exist.
So it's more so calling out those who seem to put the shame on them as opposed to them. I like that.
And the why, and also the asking the why, right? Like, why are cishet people so fascinated and interested in queer and trans people? Could it be that you have some exploration to do on your own? Just the thought.
It's called tea.
Throwing that out there.
It's called tea. Caucus.
Just an offering.
It's called, it's true.
You might, need to do some exploring.
A little bit.
Or maybe be honest.
You know what's so crazy? Because first of all, I love that I found my tribes, right? Shout out to Tahoe and the whole Nut Navy community, because I think, personally, I go to lifestyle parties, and because we about that life, and I think that one of his parties was the first party that I was at where I was in a room and there was a gay orgy going on over there, and there was a heterosexual going over here, and there was some girls over here. There was like everybody coexisting, and either enjoying or minding their goddamn business. I don't think I've really ever been to many spaces that I feel like that much could go on in one space without discomfort. In fact, the average space that says they're inclusive or says that they're a safe space, I'm like, who deemed you safe?
Okay. Okay.
So I like the flip on that conversation, because really what I saw that day was when you didn't have to worry about how other people might perceive you in this space, people just existed.
Exactly.
And it wasn't even all about sex. They were sitting around a fire. We were having drinks. We was in a hot tub. Ain't nobody care about this.
It was pleasurable.
Okay. So I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna say, listen, it's not on us. It's on y'all. Get y'all stuff together. No, because and I think that a lot of times, even, doing the work, going into different rooms, you meet all these mentalities. Yeah. And even I've been in a party, 10 people, and I'm like, why do people always got to get comfortable when we get to the anal talk discussion, right? And I realize, because it's cultural, first of all, stigmatized, but also, I realized early on, I was a part of the problem, right? In a way that I would always intro it by saying, now I know this isn't for everybody. It's almost like I'm prefacing it, as opposed to just talking about it like the same way I talked about the clitoris, or the same way let's just talk about anal. And so I find that that's a divide. That's
your
not
own biasy.
Yes. Calling yourself out is the tough one, right? Do you feel like through the process of writing a book, you had to call?
Oh my God, all the time. All the time. Yeah. And I think getting my own self out of the way too, right? Okay. And in a past life in Bed-Stuy, like down the road, I was married to a white woman. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yep. You see your face?
Interesting man.
Yes. Literally right down the road.
Right down the road.
Okay. Just a little skip and a hop down. Yeah.
Did I imagine there's a lot that you learned in that?
Yeah, I learned that I'll never be with a white person ever again. I also learned to really honor and love who I was as a Black person, and wanting to only be with Black people is just another example of that love, an expression of that love.
And I think that the confusion is, it doesn't mean that I hate people who aren't me, right? But I do have a harder time coexisting with people who can't understand my experience.
In a sexual manner, in such an intimacy.
And then the unconscious bias. I think that's my biggest challenge, is when they don't even, you just don't even realize the shit you said wasn't okay, right?
Yes. And when you're in close quarters like that, it comes to a tipping point. Do I think that interracial relationships can happen? No. I think there's a great deal of work for white and non-Black people to do to be in relationship with us, though. And I think oftentimes the onus is on the Black person or the non-Black person to do that work. Right. Instead of that white person. Right. And we were young. We were in our 20s. she wasn't doing the work. Okay. And that was a big, and we started to, or at least I started to realize that one, the relationship did not work in and of itself. And then there was this major divide in our dynamic that wasn't actually being addressed. Right.
Yeah.
We were acting like racism had been solved because we were together. Right. and now it's rainbows all over Bed-Stuy because it's an interracial couple that lives here.
But it doesn't work like that.
Huh? Yeah.
And you know what, I will say this. I'm one of those people who, you know, because it's a very controversial topic. But what I will say is I'm very, I've always been with my kind too. Right.
Yeah.
The closest I got to dipping my toe outside was an Italian man. And that was hard. Right. And I feel like Italians got a little bit close, you know.
Yeah.
Let's keep it real. We know that we see them as slightly like they got some tendencies.
I just feel like my spaghetti is really on point.
Right.
So it's gotta be something.
It's gotta be some overlap. But I will say, it's work being with a black man, right? Because of even as both of us being the same, we still had two different experiences. And I'll never be him and he'll never be me. So I do see how that adds a whole additional layer.
Which is why many black women in relationship with white people, I understand, right? Especially when it comes to like a white man or a black man, I understand not as a way to disparage black men, but a lot of black cis men are not interested and are oftentimes conditioned to not honor black women, right? And being in relationship with them, is it like being with a white person?
Because that, you know, is what you just said is that I find that if you're not, both parties are not doing the work, it can feel like still an oppressive
100%
relationship. And I don't think that just even exists on one side. Someone's going to lose their identity in this if you're not both, you know, and you got to be the kind of person who can speak for yourself, advocate for yourself, but also it gets to a point where, like, again, you don't want it to feel that unsettling, that difficult. So I can understand that perspective. And a lot of people don't always agree on these topics, and I get that. But preferentially for me, if I'm going to do some work, I'm not going to add extra work. And that's the way I see it. Plus, I'm going to be honest. I'm just not attracted to the sight of a pink penis. But when black dick gets hard, it looks like something that belongs in my mouth.
I can't relate, but
I get you. No, it just visually. I'm a very visual person. That's why I think I got a little tism, right? Because visually, I like that. I don't like that it looks like it hurts to me when I see, you know, it looks red and I see green veins and. Like visually, aesthetically, my nothing waters. Nothing gets wet for that. And then I realized I didn't realize that I would feel the same. But even this is gonna sound crazy, but I even appreciate black pubic hair better, right? So
100%,
because I did, you know, I was a woman one time, and I was like, it just looks so
pretty.
So if you're the kind of person who got
and
these
white pubes can be blondes, they can be red,
and they're so straight. I don't know,
so straight.
I like a little rough, you know, a little terrain, you know. So it's just crazy because I think younger, I always knew it, and I felt uncomfortable saying that out loud. But now in my adult age, I'm like, no, that looks like something I want to do. That looks like something I don't, and it doesn't mean that you as a person is. Yes. It's just you're not for me. Yes. And I do think that this the bigger theme of the conversation. Be okay with what's good for you. Yes. Right? And if something doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel comfortable, do the work, right? That's required for you to identify where that discomfort lives, right? Because I always say it's a disease because it's dis-ease, right? And so you got to reject anything that doesn't feel good within your body because it is a disease.
And desirability is political, right? Like this is not, you don't just, people are like, oh, it's my preference. No, right? I was conditioned just like everybody else to see white people as more beautiful, right? To see them as having it all and being in proximity to them. So much of that was like, well, if you think I'm attractive, then I must be attractive, right? So there was a big part of that I had to unpack. Kind of unpack, right? The same way that people are like, well, I'm just not attracted to fat people. No, you've been conditioned to believe in a fat phobic world that fat people are not attractive, right? I'm just not attracted to trans people. Well, first of all, how do you know someone is trans? Or is it that you are conditioned to believe that only a cis assumed person is attractive, right?
Yeah.
Like we see this not just in cis het world, but 100% in the queer
queer
world.
world.
There is, and people will put on their, dating apps saying like, I don't want fats, I don't want femmes, right? No fats, no femmes, right? That is all conditioning.
And it's so crazy because I do find what you just said is real. And that's what I was saying earlier, even within the community, there's a lot of lack of harmony and understanding as well, because people just have a way of putting down or rejecting anything they can't understand.
Yes.
Right. And I think that's a bigger thing. You got, and often like now taking your own words, right, and spinning them back out. But it's not for you to do the work to fix someone else's understanding.
Yes.
So what you said, it resonates really well, and I think that echoes again. So we're gonna run with that 2026. We're gonna remind y'all. I'm gonna be like, Ericka told me to tell y'all, do your goddamn work because it ain't for me to do. I'm over here living good. But as we're coming to a close right now in this conversation, first of all, I want to thank you for your honesty. But there is one thing I didn't get to ask you, and even though we're not in that month, I don't think we have to wait to certain months to speak about it.
Yes.
Because I actually first discovered you when I was looking for someone to talk to during Breast Cancer Awareness Month last year. I wanted that episode to air then. One of my closest friends, my childhood sandbox best friend, she went through breast cancer very young in her 20s, and she was one of our first guests on the podcast to talk about it.
Amazing.
Not being a woman in her 40s before mammogram, and her own process in how the health system denied her and almost cost her life. And you have had that intersection of sexual education, but also your own experience with that battle. And there was something she said to me that day that I don't unhear. She talked about how the relationship with her breasts changed because it was no longer a source for pleasure to her. Like she was no longer, she had a double mastectomy. She was no longer comfortable with that part of her body being accessed for pleasure because it had a different meaning to her. And being a woman young in your 20s, having that, it was like, wow, I never thought about that. And so for any person who might be navigating any kind of condition that could shift your relationship with your body and your relationship with pleasure as it results, is there any advice that you could offer to help them navigate not just the acceptance of what that new body is, but you guys have tips like how, because they still want to get to it. We still want to come. We still want to feel good.
Yes.
So do you have any tips that you can offer someone?
Yeah, thank you for sharing their story too. I would say it's twofold, right? I think one, all of us need to get really comfortable and get more knowledgeable about the fact that if we live long enough, we will all become disabled or have a chronic illness one way or another. And I'm assuming regardless of what age that is, you still are going to want to experience pleasure in some way, shape, or form. So being open and acknowledging all the various ways that bodies look and bodies experience pleasure, and also not masking your own chronic illness or disability or neurodivergence, which is likely already present, and you try to hide it on a regular basis, which is exhausting in and of itself.
Because masking is work.
It's work. It's work. But then the other part of that I would say is that, first of all, in the book I talk about this in rediscovering pleasure, but rediscovering pleasure from my breast in a whole new way, because I never beforehand really saw them as no, I felt like they were pleasurable to other people. I felt like they belonged to other people. The cleavage was there for other people to admire. My nipples were there for other people to enjoy, but not actually something for me. It felt like a disconnect for me in a lot of ways because of how they were treated in the world. So when they were removed, there was all of this commotion around me that was like, are you worried and you're not going to be able to breastfeed? And and I'm like, I just want the cancer to go away, right? And then we'll cross
that bridge later.
We'll figure out things later.
First of all, y'all only spend 3 seconds licking them anyway.
Hello.
Y'all need to work on that, though.
Right. And all the stigma, like there's so much stigmatization around breasts and nipples and feeding a child from them and so on and so forth. So my scar runs across my chest.
Okay.
And I always relate to my scar as my nipple, right? Like that's the new nipple, right? It's so much more surface to explore, right? And I remember somebody that I was with, they like licked across my scar and I'm like, well, that's the hottest thing that I've ever experienced, right? Like that level of worship, I think is really beautiful instead of trying to, again, fit ourselves into this like very narrow, well, it's just supposed to be a nipple and because the nipple isn't there anymore, then I shouldn't be experiencing pleasure, right? Like, no, like the whole surface is pleasurable.
Actually, and you know what's so funny about it? It's crazy because until I was with my person now, and he started actually exploring other parts of my breast, I also didn't realize. I was like, oh, that kind of like how that under titty feel too. Hold on now. And again, not realizing because nipples were there, I always concentrated only on them, right?
And that's it.
And then literally meeting people like you who've had these conversations, who talk to me about that aspect of it. And I was like, well, shit, let me see what it feel like when you, baby, look right here.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? And surprisingly, like, oh, that feels good.
There's more.
Yes. And I also learned how heat responsive. I didn't know that my breasts were heat responsive for a long time. And then it started to feel like, again, me just being a cold bitch. Like, he's like, I'm rubbing this down. I'm like, oh, that kind of feel nice.
Yeah.
You know? So I like that you actually not just embraced it, but you also found another source of access to pleasure through it.
Yes.
And I think anybody who's going through this, I know that that's going to be a gem and that's going to be something to value right there.
I hope so.
There are so many nerve endings.
There's so many nerve and other places too, right?
Yes.
Like you deserve pleasure on your terms for the rest of your life.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Now, I didn't get to tell you. I forgot this, and see, ADHD.
That's okay.
The bottle in there is for him. It's a pheromone body wash.
Oh.
So if you want to start touching and stuff after, you're
Okay.
welcome.
Okay.
But I just wanted to make sure I let you know what everything was. You can read it. All of our products are, our ingredient decks are organic or vegan. So we don't put anything in stuff that don't need to be
Wonderful.
in it. Very conscious about those types of things for us and our skin. I always say we curate it for us. Because usually if it works for us, it'll work for everybody.
Yes.
But
Indeed.
Ericka, thank you.
Thank you for having me. This was so wonderful.
It really was. And I'm happy that we were able to talk. I know there's going to be more opportunity.
Yes, I want to go on the cruise. I didn't forget.
We got to figure out a trip. Right. We're doing one later this year. We'll talk. We're going to talk. We're doing one and we'll talk. And I want you to tell them, I know you have your book out. The easiest ways to access you, find you, connect with you. And you said you're on tour. So if there's any upcoming dates you want to make people aware of.
If you're in Canada, I'll be in Canada June 25th at the Toronto Public Library. Nice. I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting anything.
So we'll make sure you guys tap in on her social media, tap in on her.
Yes.
Because I'm sure the information will be there.
I respond to my DMs.
Yes, because she answered me, y'all. She wasn't bougie. I'm telling you.
I read them all. I read them all.
And I'm the same way. People think it's a little crazy. Again,
it is.
Probably a little bit of my...
That next episode you need to do. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's important for people to feel seen and treated like humans.
I agree.
So I tell people, as long as you send me a human message.
I'm going to respond to you. Exactly.
Emphasis on a human message, because if you come in there with some bullshit.
Okay. It's a lot of... Somebody messaged me the other day, definitely an AI message, and said, I see that you're interested in cancer. I'm like, you have to stop using AI. You have to stop. Interested in cancer? My guy, no.
See, that would have surfaced my perimental bitch.
Exactly.
You see? This is what I be talking about. Because see, before I used to have a filter.
Right. This gone.
Perimental bitch don't care. She gonna tell you how she feels. She gonna be saying, this is the dumbest shit someone sent me this week.
Ever.
Yeah, because y'all got to get together. But thank you, Ericka.
Thank you.
Guys. And thank you all for watching. This has been another episode of The Business of Pleasure, where we know how Ericka's out here monetizing the business of pleasure.
I'm trying.
And so, yes, it is. We drop on Money Making Mondays. So when this episode drops, go run, not walk. Go grab her book. Go tap in with her. If this conversation stimulated you, I know that the book is going to take you all the way there and get you off. Okay. Bye, y'all.
Bye.